Well, today, pretty much all I've done has been roasting coffee since last night because I got some new varieties and we were totally out of coffee. So I said, well, I need to do some roasting.
We had 8 o'clock coffee.
Yeah, we had some coffee, but it wasn't, good coffee. So I've been roasting. I've got a little bit more roasting to do tonight, but this afternoon we're going to go for a beach walk. Whoa, okay. What is this all about? Well, I think today we can look at this as a world record for the number of people here, or at least for Eleuthera. Well, we just had a nice beach walk and met some people that we saw coming here yesterday on the plane. They have a house in Turks and Caicos and they watch this channel too. Seem to be having a great time other than the fresh vegetables and bread thing, but that's another story. So I sort of have and this is going to seem like a funny one, and you shouldn't take it, oh well, he's saying that because they're leaving and all that. No, well, I'll tell you more about it, but it has to do with what I think is going to happen around here in the next few years. So the thing I wanted to talk to you about is that it's, I see these things that are happening and different feelings and all that kind of stuff. So what I see, and again, this has nothing to do with because we're leaving. This is what I see. And part of that seeing is that, when we leave, the Eleuthera stuff, nobody wants to buy it, nobody wants to pay for it, is going to disappear. So all that promotion will disappear. And the way the world is, you need to stay on top of it almost constantly, little bits and pieces, but a continual effort of putting things out to keep people's attention. So the island needs that. I get that. But again, I didn't make anything on it, so be it. So what I think is probably going to be happening around here, and I'll tell you an exact case in a minute, is that in the next probably 2 to 5 years, things are going to still be, eking up, but then they're going to drop, and they're going to start dropping. And it may even happen sooner than that, because one of the things that I see is that they come a number of times, they love it, they're coming, and this is more as the short-term tourist type thing. They'll come a couple times, they'll love it, they'll come back a couple more times, and they'll still love it. But in this particular case, what this person wrote to me and said that this would probably be their last trip for a little while. And they've been coming here for years. The costs of airfare are too high. The cost of stuff here is too high. Car rentals are too high. It's just a very expensive vacation for them. And they don't go like hog wild. I mean, these are not people who are out to eat every single day or twice a day or any of that kind of stuff. And so I said, well, what are you thinking? And they said, well, we're going to be looking at potentially, like next year, going to California. We can go nonstop to California for half the price of flying to like Eleuthera. And car rentals, blah, blah, blah. And they said, probably they're getting a little bit older, not super old. We're going to be starting to think about someplace warmer. We could maybe just buy a condo and then be able to go down, be a lot less cost. And I don't think they're going to be alone in that thinking. If they don't continue some type of promotion, they don't do something about airfare and the prices, they're going to price themselves out of the general market. Yeah, those people who have tons of money, they're going to be perfectly fine with it. They don't care. They come, they rent their house, or they have a house, and they've got plenty of money. That's not going to be an issue for them at all. They're not going to be really concerned about that because they've got plenty. But the people who come, which are, the lower end rentals and the middle type rentals, those are going to start to have problems. And, you're already seeing the market for homes here is really saturated with so many houses for rent and everything else. Somebody a couple weeks back was talking about buying a place, and I said, well, if you want to buy a place, that's great. But if you need to rent that place in order to maintain, its costs and everything else, don't do it. Because, my real thinking is that there's going to be a downturn because there's so many properties. And then you're going to get into a position where in order to rent your property, you're going to end up having to lower the prices or add extras onto it or whatever. And if that happens, now you're making less and less, so you've got to rent it more and more. And you see that scenario doesn't work. You lower the price and you've got to rent it more, but there's not more people to be renting it, so it won't pan out. So it becomes a losing proposition. And that becomes a cycle, and then people start selling their houses because they can't afford to. Their plan was to make the X amount of dollars and so, to me, the big thing is the costs of here, airfare, food, everything has got to somehow come down to a more reasonable level. Otherwise, in this day and age, people are going to make choices with their pocketbook, and they always do. If it's too expensive, the water might be absolutely wonderful. The beach is absolutely wonderful. The people, absolutely wonderful. But when it costs them so much that they say, can't do it. I'm going to have to think about going someplace else. I wish we didn't have to make that choice, but, like in this other guy, he could probably, for the cost of what he comes down here once a year, he could probably take 2 vacations a year to someplace else. So it's just it's a long-term, one of my prescient things that I think is going to happen if they don't do something. If they do something and try to correct it, but I don't have a lot of faith in that, to be honest, because down here is not a proactive society, it's a reactive. So, they'll see it, it'll come back, it'll come back. It's going to come back anytime now. Then when it hits down here, oh, crap, what the hell are we going to do? We got to do something. The market's, there's not enough people coming. So it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And I think that's, again, this is just a prediction. How soon? I'm not really sure, but I see, 2 to 5 years. And if they don't do something, that's what I see. Oh yeah, and I forgot to tell you, more than likely that is going to increase. I don't know exactly when, but I'm pretty sure we're going to see another jump here to, right now it's at 12%. I think you're going to see that jump to 15 to 17, and then I think eventually you'll see one more jump to 20 to 22.
And they're up to the homeowners.
And right, and the homeowners are going to get taxed at some point. So that's going to, when you start looking at a, say, $5,000-$6,000 rental or whatever it is that you're renting, and you're going to tack on 12, 15, 20% plus other fees for accounting and blah, 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 it really skyrockets the price. And like I say, people will make choices with their pocketbook.